Thank you, Bethany, and welcome back to Saturday Morning Live with Charlie Peters and Miriam Cates.
Now, the Home Secretary is preparing to ban Palestine Action, effectively declaring it a terrorist organisation.
Well, it's understood that Yvette Cooper will deliver a ministerial statement about the group on Monday, which would then need to be enacted through legislation.
Now, this comes after there was that dramatic break-in at RAF Bryce Norton, which damaged 2 military aircraft by spraying paint onto the plane's engines.
So is this move from the government a step too far, or is it warranted when Britain's national security is put at risk? Well, joining us now is barrister and international lawyer Natasha Hausdorff. Natasha, thank you so much for joining us. Do you welcome this move from the Home Secretary to prescribe Palestine Action?
Certainly, it's only unfortunate that it has come so late in the day when one sees Palestine Action with a track record of several years of serious criminal activity against individuals and property, which clearly has met the definition for terrorism under Section 1 of the Act. And there have, of course, been public calls for the proscription of this organisation for some time now.
Natasha, it strikes me, as you said, this has been going on for so many years with Palestine Action. Last year, GB News did an investigation into the group, looking at its many actions of sabotage, essentially, on arms manufacturers. We have a clip from when we put out that documentary last year. They do this. Why do Palestine Action keep getting away with this sort of protest and other groups? Well, fundamentally, it works. Elbit Systems has shut down 2 of their factories and their subsidiaries in the Midlands and also in Kent as a consequence, in Greater Manchester, as a consequence of these protests. So it is working, and they're making significant losses as a consequence. Now, Natasha, we've seen them get away with it. We've seen people have to leave the country, their businesses being brought away from our defence sector because of this. This is long overdue, isn't it?
And I think it's critical that we just emphasise that this is our defence sector. Elbit Systems, that was just mentioned, has been clear that the manufacturing factories have been engaged in supplying the British Armed Forces. It is unfortunate that it's come so late and only after this direct attack on the RAF Bryce Norton base. Had it been prescribed earlier, that may have been avoided. But this is an organisation which has, I believe, over 100 convictions to its name in terms of its identifying members, and has been engaged in this criminal activity for several years. UK Lawyers for Israel has successfully stopped a great deal of the funding platforms and recruitment mechanisms that this organisation has relied upon over the years because of its criminal actions, targeting property, and of course, more recently, its explicit endorsement of Hamas, referring to those terrorist organisations' members as martyrs and calling for intifada. All of that, I think, is extremely important to bear in mind because while this organisation has presented itself as being anti-Israel, it has attacked the British arms industry and here, RAF base itself. And I think it's an important lesson to take away from this. When organisations present themselves as ostensibly fighting for the Palestinian cause, but they are in fact acting against the UK national security interests and targeting UK assets.
Now, Natasha, many people would absolutely agree that any criminal activity should be punished, although it could be argued that RAF Bryce Norton did not seem particularly well defended. But nevertheless, to prescribe them as a terrorist group rather than just cracking down on particular acts of crime, do you not think that's a step too far in a free democracy?
Well, I don't, because according to the legislation, their actions do fall within that definition under Section 1, and the Home Secretary is certainly in a position, and has been, I would argue, for a number of years, to be able to lay an order which is, in fact, under secondary legislation, may be approved by both houses. There's also an exception to this in terms of an emergency order that can be laid. But when we consider their aims to influence government policy, to intimidate the public, and their actions that have been to target individuals. It's important to recognise that there were individual employees who were doxxed, who had their homes attacked, as well as these manufacturing organisations, private property, and they had done so in a manner which, frankly, spread that terror throughout many of those communities, encouraging people to break the law. And throughout these criminal processes that we have seen, I mean, frankly, there's been a mockery made of the system throughout many of the lower courts, where arguments have been run seeking to justify criminal damage and make a mockery of the legal processes that are in place. So I think it's certainly long overdue that a prescription of this nature is being considered. I hope it will be followed up in short order. Obviously, we'll have to watch this space and wait for that secondary legislation process to take effect.
OK, Natasha Hausdorff, thank you very much. And Miriam, I think you made a I think you made a very clear point when you said, is this quite a severe action from the government? And I think, well, it is, but it comes because they've done nothing for so long to deal with this. I mean, the last government as well, Palestine Action, was conducting this very severe interventions to defence industry sector and to many businesses, and they've been forced into this severe move because they've given them so much time and opportunity for so long.
Yeah, and if you read the Palestine Action website, I mean, it's very clear that they are calling for criminal activity and calling for legitimate businesses to be damaged, and the fact that they can so openly call for that for so long. But there is a point about RAF Bryce Norton being completely undefended. I think a 6-foot wooden fence is what counts as security, is that right?
Hugely embarrassing.